Good morning, guys. Quick sound check. Let me know that you guys can hear me. Sound check 1, 2. Hope you guys all had a great weekend. It was definitely an interesting weekend for me. I'm just now getting back. Took a red eye out of LA, so landed about 5:30 this morning, and back at the desk. But happy to be here. I think we've got a really interesting week shaping up here. So we've got about a 20-point overnight range so far in the S&Ps to start off the Sunday night session. So looking forward to this week's action. I think there's going to be a lot of opportunity for us. So let's go ahead and jump on in. Thank you for that. Mike looks good. And take a look at the Forex Factory calendar that we've got going for today. So for today, we've got 9:10 here. There's going to be somebody speaking. FOMC member Quarles is going to be speaking. And then the big one for today that could move the indices here is going to be ISM manufacturing at 10 o'clock there. So keep in mind at 10 o'clock there's going to be some news coming out. And then I'm not exactly sure Ward's total vehicle sales. This is all day, so I'm not sure when or if that'll come out and at what time. But it is in yellow here, so I don't necessarily expect that to do too much here for us. And then somebody else here, another FOMC member speaking at 125. Again, I don't think that's going to be much either there. So pretty much 10 o'clock. And outside of 10 o'clock, I think we're good to go in terms of news announcement today. Unless, of course, there is, a tweet or something like that that comes out, which would be out of our control. So let's take a look at the S&Ps here, kind of see where we stand and get this week started off. So we gapped down in the Sunday night session here. So if I turn the extended on, you can see we gapped down here to 2741s. And we had some lower support levels in place here, 2730 quarters and 2724 quarters. You can see the lows so far, 2731 and a quarter. Now, if we turn the extended session back off here, I've got a game plan for today. One of two things. So the first one being we're currently sitting at 27.50, so we're down about $2 and change here. We were down, almost 20 points on the day at one point in time, and we're starting to reverse that, starting to show some good signs of strength here. So I have essentially two main game plans for today. Number one being is if we can get above 27.63 on the day, so that's another 13 points or so from here, then I think we're good on this long side, back for targets kind of up into 27.80s or so. So I think there's a decent amount of room that we can run there. Now again, that first break of 27.63s could end up being a kind of fake out shakeout. We are in a really, really nice downtrend here that we've been holding and maintaining consistently all the way down. But at some point, I do think that downtrend breaks and we get a nice 2 to 3 day rally, probably in the neighborhood of 50 to 70 points in the S&Ps. And I think that's actually going to end up happening this week, whether it ends up starting or breaking today, or it ends up happening, Tuesday, Wednesday time frame. That is yet to be determined here. So that would be my first game plan for today, is a break through 27.63 to the top side there. Gives us some room to run. Otherwise, if we start selling off again from these levels, then we can look at 27.30 quarter to 27.24 quarters as the support that should, in fact, hold this market from going lower from that point. And that should put in place those lower levels that I'd like to see traded. And then from there, we can get that, kind of 50 to 70 point rally back out of that zone. Again, not yet to be determined. We don't know if any of that is going to actually happen yet or not. But that is the game plan for me, at least coming into today. Taking a look at the NASDAQ. So NASDAQ, pretty much same thing here. NASDAQ's got some lower levels down in here, 69.94s and 69.61s. We traded lows of 70.66s, so we had plenty of room left to go in this market here, and unfortunately just not able to do it so far yet this morning. But my game plan here for the NASDAQ is going to be much the same. 71, 71, 75. Through that gets us 71.88 and then up into 72.09 50s. Now, I'm permitted to take longs on uptrends today. I'm permitted to take shorts on downtrends today. And I'm also permitted to take longs and or shorts off of divergences today. In any of the indices, we've got, a pretty wide range happening so far. And we could end up having, close to like a 33-point range day in the S&Ps, which will definitely provide some opportunity in there. And I'm not opposed to going long or short here. And I do realize that, we have a lot of room to kind of reach up and get those upper levels that we need to break out from. I mean, 13 points in the S&P, 60 points in the Nasdaq. Um, and I'm permitted to take positions prior to those levels breaking, and holding up into and potentially through those levels, if they want to trade and continue to push through. All right. So with that being said, taking a look at the Russell has the least amount of movement in order to hit its area, and it's actually almost green on the day. 1466 is where the Russell's currently trading at. The level to break above for the Russell is 1470.80, and the support level on the day here is 1461.40, and then actually 1455.10s, and the overnight low in there in the Russell is 1445.30s. So we pushed through this level by about 8 ticks there in the overnight session. 1454.30s traded, and given us a really nice reaction so far. Now you'll see the Russell and the Dow are the only two markets that have actually traded into their lower support levels, so far out of the four main indices. So the Dow had some support levels down below at 24,724, and then this zone down here of 24,640 to 24,657. So I had about a 17-point zone down there, and we actually traded a little bit through that in the overnight session. We traded 24,610s, and then now trading up here 24,797. So we're almost back to unchanged on the day in the Dow. Now the Dow's level again is 24,931s up there. Would need a trade in order to kind of get the breakout there. What I honestly think the biggest or the highest probability of a trade here setting up today in the Dow is going to be a pullback to 24,724. So if the Dow can pull back to 24,724, that's about 70 points give or take from where we're currently trading at, then I think we've got a really good opportunity in there, depending on where the rest of the indices are and what that looks like, to potentially establish some longs off of that level. Can I take a look at CGC as it opens? Yeah, let me take a look at CGC now, just kind of see where it's looking to open at. Yeah, so here looks to be opening pretty much flat here, but lower end of its range, obviously in alignment with the rest of the markets and all that. So yeah, I'll take a look at CGC. Again, I don't really see much of a pattern in here. It's going to need to kind of hold this 39.70 zone somewhere in here. If not, it's going to be in for a little bit of trouble. All right, and if you guys have, this morning might be a little bit quicker because I'm not actually drawing the support and resistance lines in, and we're kind of in a big, like I said, a big range where we can kind of bat around for a bit before we determine direction. So if you guys have symbols you want me to take a look at, feel free to go ahead and punch those into the chat, and I'll cover those once I get finished here with gold and crude. So taking a look at gold here, gold up $8.20 on the day, 1319.40 there. You can see we actually rallied a little bit more here in the overnight session for the gold markets. And if we throw that on, you can see nice move coming out. I mean, 1280 up to 1320. So we had a 40-point move in the gold markets in basically 2 days here. So a little bit of sell-off happening now. But anyways, going back to the regular trading hour session here, gold has gapped all the way up into here, has some room to pull back. I mean, it could even pull back to kind of 1313s. But the big thing in here is it's ripped, gapped up, and then ripped again, and now it's kind of gapping up and potentially crapping on us. So I'm going to be cautious with gold. I was waiting for these lower levels to break. That has now proven that it's not going to happen here, at least not in the immediate short-term future here. But gold can pull back kind of this 13, 14 level so far, and if it can do that and hold, then I think we can start looking at longs in gold. If not, then we've just expanded the range that gold wants to kind of whip back and forth inside of, and that's going to make gold kind of a non-event again as well. I'm really looking forward to gold actually kind of breaking out and picking a direction here and getting a trend going, because once gold gets a nice trend going in one direction or another, it can typically hold that for a extended period of time and make for some nice easy trading in there. But so far this year, or at least the past 2 or 3 months here in gold, that has definitely not been the case, unfortunately. So hopefully that market ends up kind of holding itself together and doing something that's worthwhile and that we can start to pay attention to. And then jumping over to crude here. Excuse me. Jumping over to crude here. So I want to look at a daily chart in crude. If you take a look, this is just straight down. So 2 big days back to back there with a gap down in the middle. This day ended up with a range of 2.79 points. This ended up with a range of $2.07. So far, we got a range on the day of 46 cents. Overnight range, though, is $2.50 in crude. So we've got a $2.50 range in the overnight session so far in the crude oil markets here. And going back to the hourly chart, we traded all the way as low as 52.11. So we traded right down in here somewhere. And you can see that kind of works its way back in towards this gap here, 51.80s. And at this point, crude's had a really nice rally off of that. Little bit of a gap up this morning, and then kind of giving back some of that gap here at the open, or just prior to or just after the open for crude. And my game plan in here is, if we can actually hold, we can start establishing some type of support level today and end up holding that. Then I think we can establish a small time frame uptrend here. And if we can get that small time frame uptrend, then I think we've got a shot at working our way back up into this gap, somewhere around 56 or north of $56 here at some point maybe this week. So that would be, like I said, kind of the best thing I could see for crude is give it a day or two, allow it to establish some footing, show that it doesn't want to crater anymore like it did. I mean, consecutive back-to-back days of all hourly bars to the downside there is a pretty aggressive move in crude. So you definitely don't want to fight that if it's going to continue to do so. And we'll know that pretty much today or tomorrow. But I think the better play here in crude is watching for that to set up and then looking for longs kind of somewhere up into this gap area. There's plenty of movement opportunity in there for the trade risk reward to probably work out. So that's what I'm looking for there in the crude markets. I didn't really scan too many stocks here this morning, so I'll go ahead and run through a couple of the main ones that I like to focus on. So just to kind of get a feel if we've got any markets gapping up, anything gapping down, big or kind of out of the norm compared to what the broader markets are doing. So taking a look at Apple here for one, Apple's been in just a complete downtrend here, and we're looking like about $1 gap up opening here, and Apple looks like 176 or so. So that is something interesting. We do have Apple gapping up on the day, Nadex gapping down a little bit. Was gapping down a little bit more, obviously, but able to kind of fight back and get close to break even on the day so far. Nasdaq's only down 23 at this point. Amazon here looks like a gap down of about 12 to 14 bucks here. So gapping down to 1760s or so. That's going to find some decent support, I believe, down here. Kind of 1755s or so. But again, interesting. So Apple's relatively strong compared to the rest of the markets this morning. And Amazon looking to be kind of moving right lockstep with the NASDAQ there. Let's take a look here. BABA 150, a little bit of gap up in BABA here. So leads me to take a look at Google, see if Google is getting a bit of a gap up this morning. Google is definitely not getting a gap up this morning. Google is gapping down at 1068 this morning. That's a big move, big move. Let's see here. Kind of 10. Is it really gapping at 1068? It is indeed. So that's going to be something to pay attention to today. Google's gapping down here about 30, almost 40 bucks there. So keep an eye on Google today. If Google starts showing some signs of real weakness there, then the Nasdaq most likely is going to have a hard time getting too much of a rally going on the day. Taking a look here, Facebook gapping down about $3. So for some reason, Baidu is even, but yeah, so BABA gapping up a bit, Apple gapping up a bit, Facebook gapping down quite a bit, and Google gapping down so far the most of what I'm seeing across the board there. And we take a look at Tesla here as well. And also, if you guys have symbols, feel free to go ahead and punch those in. If not, I'm going to wrap up here in just a few minutes and get ready for the morning power hour. But it looks like we do have some interesting kind of gaps going this morning. So 185.31s. Tesla not really doing much there, with some news over the weekend of another supercharger or another car fire there connected to a supercharger somewhere over in the UK. I want to say it was like Denmark or something. Tesla here needs up over 188 in order to really get anything going. So I think the two main ones I'm going to focus on today here for either potential day trades or as an indication as to what this market is looking to do is going to be Apple. Apple's getting a dollar gap up here, and the Google with the L is getting about a 40-point move to the downside. So I'm going to keep an eye on those two today. And let me swap those out here. So Apple, Google, and there we go. And yeah, Ozzy, so can I look at OKTA? OKTA, I don't think I've not looked at this company before. Looks like a pretty 60-80 cents on the gap up. Looking for 120. Yeah, I mean, we traded 119.96s there. This thing's rough. That looks more like a top is probably in place than anything I would imagine. Somewhere, you know, kind of 116 and change on a rally up here, and a potential rollover in there I could see happening. But yeah, I mean, if it does break kind of through this 118, 119 up here, then I think we get 120s, and if it reverses that move, then this thing's got a lot of room to fall. So it looks similar to this in the sense that we get the nice move up, we kind of pull back, and then it just kind of craps itself. So I think that's kind of what it's looking like it wants to do up in here. But yeah, 120. It's about 6 points away from where we're going to open up at the moment. Not my favorite, I don't believe. But again, I don't necessarily have anything that I think is necessarily better for a position to be on at the moment. So that is why I'm relatively flat here kind of across the board. So let's see. Will saying we've seen some brief reaction to Apple events in the past. Yeah, so Apple is obviously a big contender in this market here. And anytime that it's kind of doing something that the market is not doing, you know, is a time to definitely pay attention to it. So for whatever reason here, Apple's gapping up more so than the market is, well, since the market's gapping down. And I think if we can get, like I said, if we get a nice change of trend here on the hourly charts, then we're going to be looking for some pretty decent moves in here. So 177.33, 177.68 here. That'll kind of end this hourly downtrend. Looks like we did kind of poke through into this gap low of 175.35s there. And obviously we didn't quite fill this entire gap yet. But we'll see here. Oh, there's a keynote and a possible product announcement today at 1 p.m. Okay. Interesting. Actually, that might be even better yet. If Apple can kind of like work its way down into this gap fill and get a really quick reaction to the downside, then I think we may be able to step into the long side on there for some small positions and anticipate the actual change of trend here on the hourly chart. But either way, I think Apple will be a tradable event here with the rest of the markets for the week. So going to keep an eye on that one and on Google. But anyways, I'm looking forward to this week. I think we've got some good opportunities shaping up. We've obviously already got some good movement going on the day, and just ready to get this week kicked off. I'm gonna go a little light and slow this morning just because I am tired. I got about, I don't know, 2-3 hours of sleep on the plane. But you know, there is some opportunity out there. I want to be able to take advantage of it today, and then rest up and be ready to go for the rest of the week. So that's what I got. That's my game plan for today. If you guys enjoyed this content, please feel free to give me a thumbs up. Also, if you are new around here, click that subscribe button and turn on the little bell notifications. We go live each and every morning at 9 o'clock, giving you the thoughts and analysis and breakdown on what is happening in the markets, or at least what we think is going to be happening in the markets. And if you want to join me in the MLT Discord, which is where you get to watch me trade live, you also get to listen to Perry and the other moderators in there, as well as the rest of the Major League Trading team through chat in there. Go ahead and click the first link in the description below that you guys see, and I'll see you guys in there. So take care, trade safe today, and I will see you on the next video.